Okay, so when I went on the Panama Canal cruise, I went on Norwegian Cruise Lines. It was a lot of fun, and it was their ship that actually fit in the smaller section, the older section of the canal that was over 100 years old. I mean, it was fascinating seeing that, thinking that the canal is that old, over 100 years old, and it was started in the 1800s. Yeah, they had concrete back then. That's what I thought about. They had digging equipment back then, over 100 years ago, when I went on the Panama Canal. I think it was maybe, I don't know. I don't remember the exact date I went on the Panama Canal. It was one of the last cruises that I went on, I think. But I want to say maybe 2014, 2015 time frame, possibly. Something like that. And so I had made a review video, and we were doing that. Everybody was doing that. And I was one of the people who was talking about the fees that were baked in. So I was putting this stuff up on Facebook, talking about the fees. And I think that what I did, this is what I did, was I shared my video to a Facebook page related to the fees that were baked in at the back related to the tips. On the and all the cruise ships were doing this. They would call it a courtesy, that they baked the fees in for tips, and they said we should be glad to be able to pay the tips to the people in other countries who are working on the ships, because that's job creation for them. And we should, and so then someone writes on my video, they said, well, you got to go on a cruise that most people will never get to go on, and you're complaining about the tips. And my thought was, yes, I am complaining about the tips because of the fact that they didn't tell you that they put the tips on there. Now, you can go get them removed. They do make it difficult for you to get them removed. And so I was a little bit upset about that. Now, I was having to kind of hide that at the time. Well, now my husband didn't want to pay the tips, though, either. He never wanted to pay the gratuities or tips. Sometimes if he was feeling generous or he'd made some money on Wall Street, he would pay them. He wouldn't care. But he's like, if you think it's something that's important to remove, then go on ahead and remove them. So, I mean, the tips could be up to $250, where maybe in a restaurant he might drop $5 at the most to